Hello guys and girls, and welcome to episode 117 of the F.Reality Podcast. This is a weekly VR, AR and MR talk show live streamed every Saturday on YouTube, Facebook and on Twitch. And this is all made possible by using Restream.io. You can also catch the show live in VR using Big Screen TV. The show goes live at 7 p.m. in Europe, 6 p.m. in the UK, and 12 midday in central US. You can also check out the audio version, which is available on iTunes, SoundCloud, and on Spotify. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback during the show, please put them in the chat. We'll try to answer as many questions as we can. I also want to wish everyone out there who is celebrating a very happy Thanksgiving, the perfect time to demo VR to all your friends and family. And of course, now it's time for me to introduce you to the team. First up, this guy is now a little older, a little wiser. Everyone say happy birthday to our Dutch brother from another mother. It's of course Nathy. Happy birthday, dude.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to have another birthday.
How does it feel to be 16?
Doesn't. No comment.
How old are you, Nathy? Tell everyone.
You want to know? You really want to know?
We do.
25.
25 years young.
People were surprised when I said, like, hey, I'm 25 now. Like, wait, we thought you were 12.
A whole life ahead of you of VR.
I know.
Old before your time. You're like the little Yoda of VR. You're like.
Well, you can say whatever you want. Maybe I will be the last one of us all here that will witness VR taking over the world.
We'll be gone.
Expect it to take so long then? Or you just know because I die early.
Nathy exposed. But yeah, happy birthday. So everyone in the chat, show Nathy some love. Say happy birthday to him. Next up, this guy's midichlorian count is off the charts. Lethal with a lightsaber and as adorable as Baby Yoda. It is, of course, the rowdy guy. How you doing, man? You all right?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm cute Yoda, yeah. Woo! Yeah. Midichlorian levels, yeah. I saw Zim like looking a bit like, what the heck is that? You don't know what a midichlorian level is?
No, I was thinking, isn't Yoda the feckin' ugly one?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
Wait. Have you been watching The Mandalorian or heard of it?
I've heard of it. I have not watched it. So Baby Yoda, I have not seen that.
You've not seen Baby Yoda?
Baby Yoda is like 50 years old though.
Yeah, he is.
He's 50
He looks quite good for his age then.
He does. Yeah. It's amazing, Zim. You should check that out. It's so good. It's so good.
Isn't it not available here yet? Tell me what service you're watching it on then.
I'll tell you after the show.
Yeah, I thought so. I was like, gotcha. I don't think there's a legitimate way to watch it in the UK right now.
Mike just exposed himself.
It did.
You did.
I watched it on the reflection of a guy's glasses who was watching it on YouTube. A bit like how people watch the the KSI fight. Yeah. Anyway, I digress. If you haven't seen Baby Yoda, you owe it to yourself to go check it out. So next up, this guy never skips leg day, VR leg day, that is. He has a stomach of steel and a heart of gold. It's VR streamer, ZimTalk5. How you doing, dude? You all right?
I thought that was going to end with some joke calling me old, but just because that rhymed, you know.
It was nice.
Yeah.
It was nice.
It was nice. It was warming. Good. Yes, I have left the station this week. So goodbye, Apple feckers. I'm joining the Android train with Rowdy, which is great. I'd be celebrating right now if I could work out how to unlock it right now.
That's what you get. That's what you get, Zim. You get a phone that you can't even unlock because you're a traitor.
I've been sitting in the last 3 minutes going, I don't know how to get the PIN code in it.
This is what years and years of Apple usage does to someone's brain, you know. It just like melts it slowly away up to the point that they can't even unlock their own phone anymore.
Let us know in the chat what camp you're in. Are you an Apple fan or you're an Android fan? But just don't spam the emotes because we know what happened to Markiplier's chat when the emotes were spammed. So don't do that. But let us know. We'd love to know in the chat. If you don't know who I am, my name is Mike from Virtual Reality Oasis. We've got a busy show for you today, actually. Some of the highlights include the Beat Saber devs, Beat Games, are acquired by Facebook. Phil Spencer from Xbox dismisses VR. But although Phil isn't on board, that hasn't stopped the cows jumping on the VR hype train. We're going to be talking about that as well, which is super exciting. Zim's going to give you the latest releases to look forward to next week. And then finally, Nathy's going to tell us all about his hands-on experience with the new Pimax and Varjo headset from VR Days, which felt like happened about 3 months ago now, but it only actually happened about 3 weeks ago.
Thank you for giving me some airtime. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. The thing is, everything that's happened like in the last couple of weeks has just been really important. Not that VR Days isn't important and your experience isn't important.
I don't even remember my experience anymore. So we're gonna talk about what I think my experience was.
Yeah.
We'll just skip it.
Yeah. The topic's going to consist of I can't remember. So
we can. I'm sure we can fill it up with some Half-Life.
Sure, we can do that.
Sounds
Get
good.
people hyped. So let us know in the chat if because we're going to be talking about a highlight of the week and what we played. So if you want to share what you've been playing, put that in the chat as well, and we'll read some of them out. But let's kick it over to who's first? Nathy's first to the plate.
Nice.
What did you play this week, dude?
Lucky
What have
me.
you been up to?
I have been playing something Pancake.
Shame.
No, wait. This is research I'm talking about, okay?
Okay.
I downloaded the Rec Room app on my phone. On my iPhone, Zim. That works because I can unlock it with my face. Bam.
All right.
But anyways, it's amazing. It works very well. Has all the features that you also have in a casual experience of Rec Room.
Mm-hmm.
You can give people a handshake. You can do a high five. You can dance. You can go to all kinds of let's say community worlds, everything, and it's way faster. Like this whole app opened my eyes once again, where I just want VR apps to boot up faster. I want the loading times to be quicker, etc. Because it takes me less than 5 minutes, and of course it's unfair to compare in that sense, but it takes me 5 minutes to get in there, and then I can just start playing.
If Rec Room devs could have done that, they probably would have done that if they did
Of
it
course.
on
Yes, but it's just that that it's almost like more attractive to me now to go onto a Rec Room because it takes me 5 minutes and I can just sit here and talk to my audience. Is great. Although even that I liked it that much, I still wanted Rec Room to be just VR only because I feel like its community is big enough to keep it afloat. And I understand from a business model, it's smart to make it available for monitors, for mobile phones, for tablets, etc. But I think the crossover between VR players and Pancake ones in this case, I don't want it to be like that.
Do you think
they are kind of it's not only just the interaction, because they're kind of static. Even that I'm on a phone, I can't be as social as you can be in VR.
Yeah.
But it's also, this is what I said before, if I play a round of paintball and I just hook up one of those Shield controllers to my phone, I'm gonna beat your ass. even if you're in VR and you can aim faster than me, I'm still gonna beat your ass, because with a controller or with a keyboard even better, I can just own everyone in Battle Royale or whatever. So I feel like the balance isn't there.
Yeah, I can understand that. And also, do you find that there's now more kids in there because you think that this mobile app has been enabled?
Yeah, of course. I mean, well, I haven't seen more yet, but that's of course a fact that's going to happen. I mean, Rec Room has always been kind of the VR title for kids. There are also a lot of others playing it, but those are doing it in private. But if you're in a public, then you see a lot of little baby Yodas running around.
I got a question on that from a mic perspective. That's not Mike, our host. That's a microphone. What's the default setting when you go into the app? Is it open mic off of the iPhone or tablet that you're using, or is it automatically muted at the start? I ask because
it's automatically muted. You have to give permission, like every app. It's like, hey, you want to give permission? But
no, sorry, not the permission of the app. So most apps when they launch have to ask for permission. But I mean, once the app is installed on the device, you've launched it the first time, you've given it permission. Is it automatically open mic or is it closed mic?
I think it's automatically open. Yeah, but you can change that. All the settings are in there. What is kind of cool is that you can turn on the camera and use it to track your face. And then when you look around, you see that in Rec Room as well.
That's really
interesting.
Cool feature.
Yeah.
And it as long as you hold your phone in a proper way, then it works.
So it's like face track. IR.
Yeah,
it's like those AR emoji things then, but then
I think it's only your head movements. If they could also do your like blinking or your smell, then because those are like automatically happening. So yeah, it's good. It's fun. It's great to have, but
it'll be interesting to see how this shapes Rec Room in the future.
That's what I wonder, because I feel like it's gonna be taken over by the flat people and not the VR people. You already see way more folks that are not owning a headset, and I don't know if that impacts a VR app in a way where you're like, yeah, maybe I should just play the phone version like everyone else. Why? But it's not attractive in any way.
I remember a while back they were very keen on moving a little bit away from the more like. Because it's always been like a lot of kids playing Rec Room just in general, but policy on that has always been that it's not specifically for kids. They implemented certain features that would detect kids.
Yeah,
but
it didn't work.
Yeah, but this seems to be going like the complete opposite direction.
Yeah, they make it only worse.
More kids in there, then you make it on a mobile phone.
Yeah, they only make it worse. Plus, technically, officially, VR is not for kids.
That's true. It's true.
Because it's a 13+ market.
I always wonder, like, if you want to do some good research on how kids get into VR, go into Rec Room, because there are kids that sound like E.T. that are in there. Talking about E.T., have you guys seen the commercial of E.T. checking out VR?
I saw you tweeting about it. I haven't seen it myself.
Well, it was an ad, a TV ad.
Listen. Even that you haven't seen it, you know what's interesting about it? So E.T. is trying VR, right? Now, E.T. was playing with an Oculus Go.
Okay.
Seems okay. Seems fine, right? Great Christmas gift, because it's a Christmas commercial. But E.T., his face is not like our face. So what is his IPD then? It's not like, if you watch the commercial, like this Oculus Go should be on his, well, he doesn't have a nose either as far as I know, but it should be on his nose. It should be next, like his eye should still be here somewhere. Then his headset is.
Wait, are you now saying that the commercial doesn't make sense because it features an alien with a too big of an IPD?
You're telling me that ET faked it? He wasn't actually playing? Wow.
But then I was asking David, I said, like, listen, so E.T. is playing with this headset. How is this possible? He said, like, yeah, but the Go has no IPD adjuster.
No,
so then I was like, okay, well, that totally makes sense, right?
Wow.
Yes. But anyways, some people have already been playing some other games too. And that is, well, first of all, Stormland. Rift S Fun played that. I still like that name, Rift S Fun. It's like, it's just so simple, but it just works. You know that this man owns a Rift S and plays Stormland all week. Yeah, and then he has fun. Yeah, exactly. Then we have Watto UK. He only played Borderlands 2 and Assetto Corsa, and he lost 1.2 terabyte of data. and it took him 4 days to recover it.
Wow.
Nice.
Sounds like a nightmare to me.
Yeah. And then we have G27, who dove into Mage's Tale. I think he says Half-Life VR. I was like, Half-Life Alyx? How? Pistol Whip on Quest, and the Doom 3 VR mod. And we have Mr. Dub, who just spent £600 on a PlayStation 4 Pro, PSVR, Move controllers, and, well, Blood and Truth, Astrobot, Resident Evil, the best ones you can get.
Nice.
He already owns a CV1 Rift S and Quest.
Nice. Yeah, great conversion. You're going to have such a good time, I think. Really
But
do.
last but not least, Joshua Johnston. He didn't play this game, but he says he would love to play it, and that is Wolves in the Walls. And I think Mike can totally recommend that.
Yeah, completely. It's such an amazing experience, and it's free as well. And I think there was a discussion this week about like the best AI in VR, and that is the best AI in VR. Like the way that she talks, the way she makes you feel like she's a living, breathing character is very good. Cool. So what about you then, Rowdy? What have you been up to this week?
I've been playing a couple of things. Also, I saw that VR Buck on Twitch has played Until You Fall and Standout. What is Standout again? Is that
It's a Battle Royale game.
Battle Royale, massive players, right? I didn't know that was still running, but if it is.
Me neither. But anyway, I've been playing a game called Thief Simulator VR, which is, I mean, the game is still in early access, so it's still buggy. I kind of, also because I was messing around, I kind of run into a few like game-breaking bugs that kind of like forced me to do a restart. But it's hilariously fun. Like you play as a burglar. I've only played like the first two kind of like missions, which is more like tutorial-like. But the mechanics that they've introduced are actually quite fun to mess around with. So you have a crowbar, which allows you to like smash windows, or like you can like break a toilet, or like smash things up with the crowbar. So that's actually
a toilet with a crowbar.
So wait a minute. Not only do you get burgled, but you get your toilet smashed up as well. Like how?
The first thing that happened to me was like, oh, it's a toilet, and I like touched it and like smashed it to like a billion pieces. I was like, well, that person is going to be happy when he comes home. Yeah. But you do feel like a real dick when you're playing this game. Like I mean, the stuff that I've been stealing has not been. I'm pretty sure I'm like an English burglar because I keep on stealing like teapots, like
tea cozies
are worth money for some reason. So I've been stealing teapots, and then you actually physically need to carry stuff out of the house as well. So for example, I stole like an old TV. You need to grab it with two hands. You need to like run out of the house, make sure that nobody sees you. You need to put it physically in the back of your car. Yeah. Still nobody can see you. You need to physically open the door of your car. You need to physically get into the car. You need to physically start the engine. You need to physically push on the gas pedal and drive away and get out of the town.
How do you physically push on the gas pedal?
Not that physically. You physically do it with your butt.
Yeah, you physically do it. All right.
But it feels very. I kind of feel like there's like too much mechanics going on at once to make it all work perfectly. But it does make it a lot of fun though, because I've been driving on. You can't make too much noise as well when you're giving gas. You need to drive not too fast, not too slow. Like it's hilarious to play around with that. I drove over pedestrians. I've crashed my car. I flipped it upside down almost. Like it's an hilarious game just to play around with. And then when you get back to your own base, you need to like sell the stuff that you stole. You can purchase new products. You can purchase like thieving gloves and like new material lock picks and that kind of stuff to break open. And they have all like funny names for websites. So instead of eBay, it's like Black Bay. And like you have a rent-a-tuck. Rent-a-tuck. And they have all these kind of like funny names for it as well. I had a lot of fun playing that game. It's called the Thief Simulator VR.
So if you want to go and steal a bunch of teapots, then that's the game for you.
and smash toilets with crowbars.
Smash toilets, yeah. How annoyed would you be? Like you've been burgled and then you get your toilet and your toilet smashed and your teapot stolen.
Everywhere.
Worst day ever.
Like that has got to be some kind of on a test scale for psychopathy. Like, that's it. That's how you figure it out. Like, if you would burgle a house, would you smash the toilet as well? Because you know how fecked off you'd be.
The worst part for me was like, I trashed this entire house. Like, I smashed everything. And then I had to I stole the TV already. It was already in the back of my car. Picked up all the money everywhere I could find. And then I opened like a drawer. And there was like this kid's drawing in there. And I was like, oh, dear God, what did I do? But then I went outside and I just continued. But yeah, that made me feel bad.
Wow. So we've gone from really sort of, hearty rec room, really friendly for kids to this can train you to become a burglar.
Yeah. But that's why you have me on the show.
Yeah, of course. Zim, what about you then? Please tell me it's not going to be something, bad.
No, not bad. Weird, which is normal from my corner. No, I think the game I want to highlight, when I'm sure you guys probably talked about last week. Next week. I see into the future.
Well, next week could also be
The Under Presents, which I found to be really very bizarre. And I have a very high bizarre tolerance. The thing I want to highlight primarily on, if you haven't seen The Under Presents is it's another game from the same devs as from Tenderclaws from Virtual Reality. So if you like that kind of whole like mind warping VR game with high polish, this is that. And it took me quite some time. I'm not going to spoil it, but there are some really cool things that happen even in the first 15 minutes you play in the game, which are really mind bending. But the thing that I thought was really cool and stood out is they may have actually implemented a motion simulation mechanism that beats many others, which is how you move around. So you move around by I'll describe it the best way I can, bending space. So it's like if you were on your phone, right? You're like, I'm going to zoom in. The center bit zooms in. The rest of it warps towards it, and then you do a kind of a speed step in that direction. So you're basically pulling the scene towards you, and then it warps you into that space. And it's totally comfortable. It's really weird. It obviously fits the game. Great.
Is it similar to what the lab does with the globe thing? Because that also has that warping effect.
Yeah, not dissimilar. That is probably the closest thing to it. I have to just say, if you guys haven't touched it yet, you have to. It's if for no other reason, that movement mechanism is amazing. And then the audio for any audio file, like the voice that they captured, is super high fidelity, very warm and in your head. Love it. Just really, really liked it. So.
And in the chat, Paradise Decay is saying, by the way, that the game also has full locomotion. So
yeah, there's some options. Right.
That, so there are some options as well. But, I want to ask about the game. How would you in what category would you place it? Is it like a laid back kind of experience that you're going through and it's relaxed, or is it a little bit more
art adventure? Let's say art adventure. It's So you're exploring, right? In the same way that you do in a lot of there's a lot of kind of flat games that I would compare it to, but it's just you don't know what's going to happen next. You don't know the characters you're going to meet next. There's a lot of surprise in it as you're going. In terms of the mechanics, in terms of what you're doing, it doesn't lead you almost at all in terms of what you're supposed to do next. But the mechanics that the game has developed and the way you interact with various things in the world, I thought was very smartly put together. I got to a stage of frustration in the game where then I abandoned it, and I learned that there were ways to continue that I spent, I suppose, half an hour or something in it, and I was kind of doing the same loop again and again, and there was way more content for me to explore, but I didn't get to that just yet. So I definitely want to go back, because there's a load of different shows and stuff, but it definitely feels like something, if you're into stage theater and stuff like that, that's what it feels like, a stage theater production.
Did you meet any live actors? Because there's live actors in there sometimes.
How do I say this without spoiling anything? Yes.
Okay, because I wonder how long that's going to go on for, because it can't go on forever.
Yes, it kind of can. You have to play the game.
Okay.
The game does a lot of interesting things. The other thing I just wanted to say, given I thought Under Presents, again, I can't say much detail of it, was just how incredibly disappointed I was at the third episode of Vader Immortal. I don't know what you guys thought about it, but my God,
go there.
I didn't expect the game to descend so far. The amount of times they interrupt you as you're stepping through, like, just stop bloody interrupting me. I was so irritated. And the thing is, if they didn't have that stuff, and they did a bit of that in the second one, if they didn't have that stuff in there, it would, I mean, it looks well, the story's not terrible, it's a Star Wars thing, but what they do is so deplorable from a VR game development perspective. I want people to look at this on a pedestal and go, don't ever do this again, because that is bad. It was the first time I've taken a big budget title and put in a void reward on it, because it's just so terrible. And the fact that now they're giving this, bundling it with the quest, and that's the punchline you're leaving it on. Like, the first episode was pretty decent, and then the second one was like, okay, where's it going to go from here? I was expecting us to go up, but it went down, man. Oh.
It's not only that. I played it this week as well. It felt very rushed. Like, there was a different idea behind the last episode that just never came to life in any way. And there are moments where the dialogue kicks in and points you into a certain direction, but it's a dead end, and it doesn't go anywhere.
It doesn't fulfill itself. Like, it tells you, it tinkles. It's like, hey, guess what? Here's the carrot. And this carrot, you're going to get to do this carrot, and you never get to.
And
you never get to do that.
Episode 2 build up to that, and then episode 3 just says like, oh, listen, we didn't have enough money or time, whatever, so we rushed it, so you're not gonna get it.
And you know what it had? It had the same thing as the second Matrix. You know when Morpheus like broke down in tears or whatever, and it's like it just totally cut his balls off? They do that to Vader. And F you guys, you should not do that. Like, not for such a pinnacle of a VR experience with so much attention on it. And now it's bundled. It's like, why do they keep making this mistake? And I think that Oculus are part to blame in this, because it's like, why allow a creative story that's going to disappoint to that extent be like a herald for your platform that you're then bundling with?
Yeah, but the thing is, if you look at the reviews, they are all praising it into the heavens, because for a lot of people, when there is a Star Wars label hanging onto it, it must be good. But not everything that is Star Wars is great. That's not the rule.
But we've seen plenty of PC games that are Star Wars titles that aren't good. This didn't feel like it was going that way, and in my opinion, it ended that way. And I wish it hadn't. Yeah. I wish they could just take that game and just recreate it or give it to a different studio to make, because they don't understand VR.
I didn't think it was that bad. Like,
oh God.
I thought the ending was kind of a bit disappointing. It was a bit anticlimactic. And I also do agree that the constant interruptions where, like, move to this point and you're going to be told a story now was annoying. And Rowdy touched on that last week as well. But I don't think it's, like, terrible.
Taking 60 stormtroopers so you can flick them off when you can't even lightsaber them, or do the things that you could do in the second game. But they've done so much to muck this up.
The reason why this was done is because this is an intro experience for a lot of people. Yeah. And I fully understand that you don't like it, or that you, because we want more and we're used to more. But the way that I see this title, and I said that in the last episode as well, is that this is the kind of title that I put people in just to have a feel of like what virtual reality can do.
No way would I do. No way would I use this as an intro, because
the first episode more.
No, the thing is, even in the second episode, right? Even in the second episode, you get taught throw your lightsaber, and then halfway through the third game, you can't even do that. They literally they teach you skills, and then they take it away, and it's like, what's the game design point of doing that? Forcing you to use the blaster that they implement, right? I mean, it's just like I don't understand the design choices, and it's very disappointing.
I really don't see it as a game. I see it far more as like an experience, like that you try for like 30 minutes, and that's it.
I wish I was just watching it, to be honest. I wish there was no interaction then, because they just interrupt you so many times. It's like,
the first episode was like, the price you paid for it was fine. The second one was meeting in the middle, but the third one is quite expensive for what you get. But the thing is, if you bought the first one, you're not going to...
You're already invested at that point.
Yeah, so they know that, and they can just let you pay for everything else.
Yeah.
Is that the excuse of someone being Star Wars and having to be happy that it's in the industry?
Yeah.
That shouldn't be the baseline.
It's weird, though. Yeah. There's two parts to the game, right? Because you got the main story game, which for me went like high, medium, low. And then there's the dojo, which I think did the opposite. I think you went from kind of like, to pretty decent to... The third dojo is pretty good. That's the only saving grace of that title, in my opinion.
On last week's show, we kind of said that it would have been nice if all the 3 episodes were in together in one game.
Uninterrupted, one to the next?
Yeah,
I think they should just patch and do that. Absolutely. If you own all 3, you should be able to play them like just straight through.
Yeah, I think that would have been a better experience. It would have been more cohesive, and then you wouldn't have noticed the dip so much in the middle, maybe. I think you would have still been fairly disappointed at the end.
So in your opinion, you think the middle is the weakest?
For me, yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Interesting.
For me, it's the one was just really good, but like I said last time as well, it's because it's new. Everything there was like the first time I see. It's the first time you meet Darth Vader.
Yeah, the surprise elements kick in.
They don't even use the Force in the first episode, but all of that was already new. And I think that when they introduced the Force in the second episode, there was literally nothing you could do with it except for flick some rocks.
Pick up rock, throw rock.
Yeah, and the third one at least, there's a little bit more interaction in regard to what you can do with the Force. I think that's a good thing. You get your lightsaber back. You get to do some more stuff with that. You have blasters. There's a little bit more stuff going on. So that is why, for me, I see the second one as the weak one in the 3.
Okay.
So just quickly going back to the underpresents, can you play it multiplayer? Because it is a multiplayer experience, but can you choose to play with a specific friend? Is my question.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Like I don't think you can isolate it to just you 2.
Yeah, so I think that was the plan, because me and Nathan were maybe thinking of playing it together.
You should be able to get in together, but how? I have not explored it enough. I don't.
This is something that no one tried, and then we figure it out, and it's actually a thing.
Okay.
I don't think so, based on the options I've seen.
Okay.
Wow.
So in terms of what I played this week, I've had a super busy week, so I haven't played that much. I've actually spent most of my week in Tilt Brush. Because I'm currently working on the final video for a VR 180 project, which is sort of partnered with VR Scout and YouTube. It was like a creator lab thing. Nathan went on it as well. But I've been working on this final video, so I've been doing that in Tilt Brush. It's kind of an interesting video. It's more about my personal life, which is kind of strange for me to share so much information. But that's coming soon. That's something completely different. But I did play one game, and that was one of my favorite VR puzzle games. But now it's just been ported over to the Quest, and that is A Fisherman's Tale. We've talked about this game so many times on the show before, but if you've never seen Fisherman's Tale or heard about it, it's a really cool little game. It's a lovely little puzzle game. Got a quirky little story. It's very charming. It's kind of narrated really nicely to the player, and has these kind of unique characters. You meet a talking crab and a fish, and it's just really nice, heartwarming. It's also got this kind of mind-bending puzzle mechanic I've not seen in any other VR game, in that you play in a world within a world within a world. I think we kind of said it was like Fisherman, Lighthouse, Inception when we first sort of saw it. So you play this fisherman in a lighthouse. In that lighthouse is a little model lighthouse, and then outside of the lighthouse that you're in is a bigger lighthouse.
Yeah.
It kind of just
a dollhouse effect.
Exactly.
It's weird how you can hand Mini Mike, Big Mike can hand Mini Mike something.
Really inspired.
Yeah,
that's the only.
The even crazier thing though is what me and Zim actually tried is when you do this multiplayer. Remember that, Zim?
I do remember that.
There is also an arcade version of this, or is that the arcade version?
That is the arcade version. That is, it's not the same game, but that is an arcade version. Yeah.
Oh right, so you played an arcade version of this?
No.
Oh, when you met Vertigo Games, is that right?
What was that game called?
I forgot the name. 20 minutes.
Corsair's Curse.
Oh, so this is
something Curse.
I think it's Corsair's Curse. Yeah.
And this is a concept or a game coming soon?
Oh no, it's arcade only.
Arcade title.
Oh,
it's really sad because the quality is of the same grade, I would say, as Fisherman's Tale, and it had some kind of room escape elements. It was multiplayer. It had the scale thing, and the best part is at the beginning, you don't know that the scale thing is coming, and then it comes, and it's like, why is Rowdy so big? That game has.
That's what she said.
Yeah, exactly. Why that game cannot be released to consumers? Again,
there are more arcade games that should be released to consumers.
There's any VR titles feel like they should be. I still think it's like those art titles we were talking about before. They're not being opened to the wider audience, and maybe that's part of the magic, right? But at the same time, I feel like spend some time, get it to allow the mass of people, the unwashed, to play it, please.
The unwashed.
So
unwashed.
I just got some fresh news that a game that Mike and I were featured in has been
I heard about
canceled,
formally banned.
It's gonna disappear.
Yeah, Slightly Heroes, right?
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
I see. And Merry Snowballs too. It's from
Rabbit Games. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they're taking them both offline for some bizarre reason.
That's a shame because I really
it's an obvious reason
playing with my own character.
Maintenance cost of multiplayer servers.
That's true.
You changed your words really quickly there. I really enjoy playing with myself.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. But I if you want to, sure, there you go.
But for the Go, it was like a really fun little multiplayer shooter. You know,
I like the fact that it was 1v1 at the start. It was kind of the first game that had a fun game loop, but really didn't pick up. So I'm not surprised they're canning it.
It's a real shame, I think. But going back to the Fisherman's Tale, obviously, having played it before on the Rift, now playing it on the Quest, it's exactly the same game. Everything looks great still. I was surprised, actually. It doesn't really seem like much has been sacrificed in terms of the visual quality. So I think it was a really good little job from Inner Space VR and Vertigo Games on that one.
You can sell your PC VR headsets.
I won't do that yet. I won't do that
not yet.
I love these conversions, though, and I constantly see devs who are getting pressure to port their games to Quest, and it's I love this. It's like the old multiplayer thing. Just tick the box. Yeah, just come on, put it on Quest.
Tim, do you think it would work on the Go? I saw you converting Pistol Whip to Go. So how would it work?
Well, again, right? Pistol Whip needs only one of these. Audio listeners, I am raising my right hand. So if you that was the whole point, was I was like, when I saw Pistol Whip, I was like, oh. And so if you want to check that out, it's actually a fun little video. But like the fact that so much worked through Virtual Desktop to Pistol Whip running on PC on the Oculus Go, I don't think this would work because you really need two hands for some of the puzzles. I don't think. Yeah, you do. But are there any other games that only require? Don't answer this, Rowdy. That require one hand?
Crisis Brigade. Oh no, you have to reload, so no.
Well, that would already. Yeah. Ooh, that's a good question. Could you find a way to pipe? This is definitely not okay. I don't think this is technically possible. Pipe a game that's running on the Quest, somehow cast it to the PC, which then you do Virtual Desktop on a Go and control it that way.
What's the point at this point exactly?
I love those tests. You know that.
But yeah. So, right, let's jump into some news then, because we've got some juicy news this week we need to get through before Nathy tells us all about VR days. So, first bit of news is actually quite surprising. I was surprised about this. On Tuesday this week, Oculus announced via a blog post that Beat Games, the developers behind Beat Saber, are joining Oculus Studios. The blog post goes on to say, Beat Games will join Oculus Studios as an independently operated studio in Prague, continuing to create new ways for people to experience music and VR gaming. Most importantly, what the community has come to love about Beat Saber will remain intact. Beat Games will continue to ship content and updates for Beat Saber across all currently supported platforms, now with even more support from Facebook.
But what about the mods?
Well, mods is obviously a big question, but that was also covered in the blog post where they say, we understand and appreciate the value that modding brings to Beat Saber when done so legally and within our policies. We're going to do our best to preserve the value that mods bring to the Beat Saber player base, but as a reminder, our most recent policy updates give more clarity to how developer mode is intended to be used, such as helping developers build their apps or for enthusiasts to explore new concepts. It is not intended for engaging in piracy or illicit modding, including mods that infringe on third-party IP rights or contain malicious code.
So that sounds like the music is just not going to happen.
Well, obviously, this has already happened on the Quest. We've seen this, Beat On, which was a side quest mod.
You can get banned for it right now.
I don't think...
Has anyone been? Has anyone reported?
I've never seen reports of individual players being banned. And it wasn't even Beat On that were banned or stopped. It was because they didn't want to get into this future legal battle with Facebook, which is totally understandable.
Makes sense.
But I think this is kind of interesting. And of course, we don't know how this is going to affect mods on PC, but I think on PC, it's a different kettle of fish. Like, I don't think it's as easy to plug those holes as it was potentially with the Quest.
Yeah.
But it is an interesting power play from Facebook. Because we saw recently that Insomniac Games, who made Stormland, were recently acquired by Sony. And I do really feel that game suffered as a result of that acquisition. Like, I think they had way more to give that were probably stopped. But with Beat Saber being like VR's, probably number one app, I think it's a really smart move from Oculus to acquire them now. Whether or not the community think it's a good idea or not, I think it's a smart business decision for them to do that.
I love how much this news has dropped in the last week and a half. I mean, we've got the Half-Life Alyx stuff, which split the gaming community between VR and non-VR holders, and then there's this, which is, I think, a very interesting kind of entrepreneurial move. And like what you're saying there, I actually am, although I recognize the, and I was just as anyone else when I was thinking, hey, I'll buy a DK2, and I just heard, Facebook bought them. I was like, maybe I should not buy this headset, and then I ended up buying it. I understand why people are concerned, but at the same time, I think it's a very wise move. I think it's a huge power play, and I love when I see these kinds of chess moves happen. And I think that, again, what are we going to see out of this? I imagine we're going to see Beat Saber bundled with Quest or something to that extent, because we've talked about it before, how much sense it would make. Yes. Obviously, there was probably resistance from Beat Games themselves at, let's rewind, almost a calendar year, and why Quest didn't come bundled with Beat Saber. I wouldn't be surprised if within 6 months we see Beat Saber bundled with Quest for free.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if other companies wanted to buy them too. And I think there was a bidding war and going on.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
But this is a sign of VR maturing, and we're going to see this more and more. It's like what Epic Games did for a while. Sony is going to buy more studios. Facebook is now, they already said they're going to buy more studios. Yep. So, I think it's smart.
Like, personally, for Beat Games specifically, I think it's a very smart move from their perspective as well, because Beat Saber is becoming more and more popular amongst people who don't know anything about VR, which is a good thing for us. But at the same time, they have a huge problem, and that problem is mods. Because at a certain point, the music industry will say, listen, we don't find this funny. This is copyright infringement, and you're not making the mods, but you're allowing those mods being played on your game, and they're gonna sue Beat Games.
Yeah.
But
now it's Facebook who.
Now they're gonna have to sue Facebook. So I do think that's a very strong move from them to go through. Because if there's one company that has a lot of experience in lawsuits as well, then it's Facebook, right?
Rowdy, I have to say, I absolutely love this point you're making. I love this point. It's like we just brought in the biggest legal shield ever.
Yeah, but it's true though.
It could have destroyed their entire company if someone started suing them.
If someone started suing them, because you can say what you want, but mods that allow for copyrighted music to be played in Beat Saber, it's just not right, because those people who own that music are not getting compensated.
It's like LimeWire and virtual reality.
Exactly, and that is a problem, and I think it's good that they're. Of course, it's going to be the community is not going to like this because they want to play their own songs. But I think it's good for the future of Beat Saber that Facebook or Beat Games themselves are going to start doing something about it, because this is an issue. Yeah, and this will be an issue for all of the other games out there, and for all the other music apps as well. So if there's something consistent that comes out of that, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, so, I totally agree.
For the chat, how much do you think Facebook paid for Beat Games?
That would be really interesting to see what people think.
But it's definitely going to start at $1 million and then go higher and higher.
Without doubt, more. But the thing is, although it says obviously in the blog post that they're going to continue to ship updates for currently supported platforms, so that doesn't mean that it's going to support future platforms. So PSVR 2, for example. Like maybe it won't be on there. I don't know.
Exactly what that wording means.
But I don't think they only wanted to buy it just because of Beat Saber. I think they also want them to make more games for them because they saw that, of course, Beat Saber has been a flagship for VR. And I do think Facebook has high expectations of the whole team that they can nail something else similar like that.
But also, if you think about it, they're starting to build, and they did say they're going to try and acquire more studios as well, but they're building their first party IPs now. Do you know what I mean? Now that they own that, they've got these first party games and IPs that they own. And if you think about it, exactly what Zim said, with the branding, like they're definitely going to do a bundle in the future with Quest, with Beat Saber, or the next Quest, for example. You go into a store and you're a consumer, you see all these bland boxes with just a headset on, and you're like, okay, well, which one do I buy? You see this one with Beat Saber on the front of it, and being a consumer that doesn't know anything about VR, you go, oh, that can play Beat Saber, that's the one I buy.
Exactly, 100%.
At the same time, like, you can say what you want about Facebook, but the thing that they've done so far, the thing that they've brought out, the Oculus Quest, the Oculus Rift, it's been improving a lot, the virtual scene. So, I mean, if there's one company again that can like pull it to the next level, it's going to be Facebook. They have the expertise, they have the people, they have the money, they have pretty much everything almost in-house in order to push it to the next level.
The best part about this is that this is homegrown VR, built from the ground up IP, right? That's getting the limelight in the top spot. It's not Virtual Powers United. It's not Star Wars. It's Beat Saber. And like or dislike Beat Saber, although if you dislike Beat Saber, you're probably in the minority. That's a beautiful image that you painted, Mike, with the boxes on the shelves and Beat Saber slathered all over it. And I think it's an incredible move because it's becoming a household name. I think it's going to go further down that route. And if they manage to bundle it, maybe it's not going to be for free. It still allows them to heavily subsidize. And that makes it easy.
So would you guys say that this is like, because we're going to see more studios getting bought, do you think this is a good thing for games? I think in the end it is. Maybe it doesn't feel like it for other platforms, but Sony is going to react to this and be like, oh, hey, wait, so this is happening. So we're going to maybe for PlayStation 5 plan this and that, because the portfolio that Sony has is huge, of course, compared to Facebook. Facebook is just kicking things off. But I do think we're going to see a little war going on with, oh, you have this game? You know what? We're going to have this game then. But for the gamer, that's maybe great news.
I think, like you say, some people will see this in a negative light. I think it's a great thing. And I think, congratulations to Beat Games. I think, they've done an amazing job over the years of trying to push the boundaries and fighting these legal battles themselves and trying to put these fires out themselves. But now that they're getting this backing from Facebook, it means that they can just concentrate on making amazing content. And I just think out of this, hopefully we just get more of what they're giving.
There was a beautiful answer that Jerry said in chat to what they paid for this. He said a few $100 bills. Nice. That was really good.
Very nice.
And just one question for you guys from the law in chat. Do you think the Beat Saber hype will be sustainable? Like, think a year from now, right? Is Beat Saber still
It has still like right now it's not the most hyped thing anymore. It already calmed down for a couple of months, but it's a good, let's say, it's a classic in the VR industry, and that's why it works.
It's almost like Tetris. It's almost like Tetris on the Game Boy.
It's as well. Like, like, or if you want to compare it to a music game, like Guitar Rock Hero, or like any of those kind of things, where like, because it
sells the hardware. It sells the hardware. That's what it does.
To the hardware, it always makes sense that people, when they buy that hardware, they buy that game as well because they've seen it everywhere.
More staying 5 years from now. Will more people know Beat Saber or VR chat?
Well, now I think, I personally think Beat Saber, because they got purchased by Facebook, they're not going to sit on their asses and not do anything about it. They're going to keep on reinventing what they're doing now already. So within 5 years, we might be talking about a different kind of Beat Saber than the kind of Beat Saber. I mean, still Beat Saber, but there's going to be something different.
And if you think about it, we haven't even had a proper multiplayer Beat Saber yet. Like when you're actually playing opposite someone or side by side someone. I think that's really going to change the game and take it to another level. So I'm super excited about this announcement. I think it's great news for Beat Games, and I think it's a smart move from Oculus. So excited to see where this goes in the future.
Yes.
Yep.
So talking about top VR games, now you can vote for your favorite VR games from Steam. for the Steam Awards 2019. The voting is now open and runs up until Tuesday, the 3rd of December. All you need to do is log into your Steam account. You'll see it on the front page, the Steam Awards, and then it gives you a little sort of category list, and you can just vote for your favorite games, not just VR games, but just games in general. But it does have a specific VR category, and this gives you the great opportunity to show your appreciation and support to all those VR developers out there who are currently paving the way for the future of VR. So I think it's a really nice thing to do.
I do think if you win as a developer, you do get featured on Steam more as well. Yeah. I think they even make a bundle of like, oh, this is one of the...
Exactly. Yeah, you get put into the limelight, which is great for a VR developer, especially when you're in amongst like other great games that are going to be voted for this year as well, like Jedi.
It needs to be released this year.
Exactly.
So, right?
Yeah. So I was going to put it out there to the chat and you guys as well. What game would you vote for in the Steam Awards for the VR category that came out this year?
I find this award so frustrating though, because like you can't vote for a PlayStation game, you can't vote for a game that's been patched this year, you can't vote for something that's on the Oculus real estate either. So it's like it's a really tainted view of VR Game of the Year award, but
it's a Steam VR Game of the Year award. So.
It is a Steam VR Game of the Year award, but still, I mean, there isn't another. I mean, am I wrong? Is there a Sony one of these? Is there an Oculus one of these?
The Game Awards has a show for all the VR platforms, but it's still, of course, the most famous ones that were in the spotlight. But that's all I know in terms of like every platform.
So, given we're in that little ring fence run, what were you asking, Mike?
What would be the game that you vote for in the VR category 2019?
Yeah.
Shall I start?
Yeah. Don't
you go
say
ahead.
anything.
You can go ahead. Well, yeah, go on.
Okay.
Mike first.
So I would probably choose either Pistol Whip.
Oh, either. Hang on. You gotta pick one. No, this is not I choose two.
Okay.
I choose two, Pikachu. No.
Okay, I'll choose one. I would then choose the Aperture Hand Lab experience, which is from Cloudhead Games.
Nice.
Because it's free, and because it does give you that amazing feeling when you're using the index controllers for the first time and seeing your fingers move individually.
It's even more specific.
I've literally... wait, is this the one where you have the robot, the portal guy, and then... Yeah, I've played it. Okay.
You do like rock, paper, scissors with them.
Yes, yeah.
But
it was good. It was good.
Because that's the only thing that came out on Steam, basically.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
It's in terms of like Valve Index stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
For me,
so that would be my choice.
Yeah, great choice.
Surprising choice, but I like that. I was thinking through this, and I have 3 runners-up and a final. So I obviously your runner-up was Pistol Whip, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of my runners-up was Pistol Whip. The other 2 are...
Whoa! Pick one, like what?
I am picking one. I just wanted to mention these because I thought that they were worth mentioning, even though they're not going to get the award.
Yeah. Okay.
So, No Man's Sky would have taken it if it was released this year, but because the patch doesn't allow it to, then that would have been mine.
Yeah.
Gadgeteer, for what it just was such a surprise to me, and I really enjoyed it.
Even though what happened to you?
Even with what happened to me, I thought it was such a compelling, out of the blue VR experience. Pistol Whip was the other one. So those are the 3.
Wait a minute. You had to go at me for choosing 2. You're really dragging this out.
How are we coming there?
Akron is mine. Akron. I really like Akron because when I look at a VR Game of the Year award, I ask myself, how many times have you revisited a title? How much fun have you had? And I mean like gleeful, laughing, belly laughing fun. And Akron is the one from Resolution Games, which is a multiplayer game where the VR player gets to be a big old tree who's protecting your nuts, and you know how much I love protecting my nuts. And then squirrels try and come and steal your nuts. And it's multiplayer, and it's a lovely experience. Works great. It's very easy for lots of people to have fun for not a lot of money. So Akron.
That's a really good choice. It's a really good choice. Okay, what about you then, Rowdy?
I mean, my 10 runner-ups are...
Oh my god.
No, I think the only fair one for me to say is a Pistol Whip. I know.
Wait. It's not Pavlov? You played that game like...
Pavlov wasn't released this year.
This year.
Oh yeah,
it was like 2 years ago.
You mean Prison Boss VR? Oh no, wait.
We're all just waiting to jump down each other's throats. I see that in this episode.
Like, chill out, like.
You can tell it's the holidays.
I was first gonna say Vertigo 2, But
Yeah,
because
same.
it's a demo,
It won't take
demo.
it. It won't take it.
No.
I won't also choose it because I don't find it fair. Like it's a demo, although it's great.
No.
I still think that Pistol Whip deserves it.
I actually initially Vertigo 2 was on my list and I tried, and then they're like, no, you can't.
But,
Okay.
Okay.
A good choice. Yeah, good choice. Sorry that I jumped down your throat there. Nathan, go on. What's yours?
Okay, so my list of nominees is. Can I just say the silliest game of this year and the best, like the Steam Award game? Can I just say that?
Sure. Like the rules are out the window
for me,
at this
if
point.
there was,
so carry on.
so if there was an award for weirdest VR game
Sure.
of the year, I would say Mosh Pit VR Simulator.
Good choice.
That's a weird name.
Yeah, but
Very
it's
strange.
not. So, sadly, it's not going to get close to those, like, let's say Pistol Whips, because people will not understand. Okay, and also the judges will be like,
People don't understand the art in that game.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Okay.
So, for me, it would be. I could say Pistol Whip, but I still feel like it just came out and it still has to kind of. I kind of want to see where it goes. So for me, it's not the best game yet. I'm not trying to apologize to Cloud.
Goddamn,
Actually,
Sam.
I am.
He's apologized to
No,
Cloud.
I am.
Are you sure about your answer?
I don't want them to be angry. No, okay. I'm gonna say Vacation Simulator by Alchemy Labs.
Oh, good choice.
Oh,
Good
interesting.
choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice choice. What about the chat? What are they saying?
So someone says
Ghostbusters?
Was that this year? Was it last year? I think. It was
I have no idea now. I think maybe it might just be this year.
Yeah, see, the thing is, like, Blood and Truth can't go for this.
No.
That was another one that I was like,
Vanishing
And that-
Realms DLC because of it's my personal Zelda VR.
I don't see
That's
anything in
the,
chat so far.
Until You Fall, Dance Collider.
Until You Fall is good. It's a shame that game came out at such a close time to Asgard's Wrath.
Hellblade's VR support came out this year, or was that last?
It's a
I think that
mod,
was
though.
last year.
It's a mod.
What do you mean it's a mod?
So it's still VR.
But that's like saying No Man's
You
Sky
hater.
as well.
Yeah, you hate
Oh,
it,
you mean it's a
don't
patch, right?
Yeah, it's a patch.
hate it. That's true. Okay,
Yeah.
interesting
Okay, cool.
choices.
Yeah, very, very cool. So yeah, go and cast your vote over at Steam. Like I say, you've got until the 3rd of December to cast your vote.
And do
Next up-
because it supports devs.
Yeah.
I almost said indie devs. It can support AAAs as well. It's all right.
And Gabe
Yeah.
Newell likes it when you click buttons on Steam.
Exactly. Right, next bit of news. This is the one you've all been waiting for.
This
We've
one?
We've had chickens in VR. Now, this is going to sound utterly ridiculous.
Is it?
But now cows are using virtual reality too.
Chicken.
Wait, did everyone hear that pun that Mike just made?
Utterly
Because
ridiculous.
I don't think so. Utterly ridiculous.
There's many more to come as well.
Oh, wow.
Just
Oh,
warning
my
you. A farm in Moscow, Russia, are testing specially made VR headsets on cows. Now, apparently, happy cows produce more milk, which means for produce and money for farmers, this is what they want. They want
Yeah.
more milk.
Yeah.
Different countries across the world, I've been doing my research into this, different countries across the world have different methods to make the cows happy, such as brushes to give them a nice little massage, makes them really happy. They also even go so far as to broadcast classical music to keep the milk flowing. But
Is
the
this
Russians,
real?
this is real. The Russians, taking it to another level, bless the Russians, the developers of this concept, this VR cows concept, in cooperation with veterinarians and consultants, have adapted a human VR headset to fit a cow. So maybe this would fit ET as well, solving the problem we talked about earlier.
Nice. Yeah.
And they made an experience that is kind of based on cows' unique vision because they only see certain color spectrums. They've created a summer field simulation VR experience for them.
I'm having a
make them
very
happy.
hard time believing any of this. I don't believe it.
But you know that
I wanna
last time
see-
when Mike started talking about chickens wearing VR headsets, he was letting us believe it for a few weeks, and then he told us it was fake.
That was true. That was a troll.
I'm loving the puns in the chat though. Like they must be using the Move controllers.
Yeah. It must be so immersive.
Oculus Rift.
Okay.
But apparently, during the initial testing, cow experts there are cow experts out there, recorded a decrease in anxiety and an increase in the overall emotional mood of the herd.
Wait. What did they measure?
How happy they were with the milk that they produced.
Can I just? What kind of video are we playing with this?
I don't believe a word of this. Cow experts determine how happy the cows were. Like, I'm having some serious questions about those kind of scientists.
You can't argue with the cow experts, Rowdy. That's just they're experts in their field.
We're becoming a fake news show.
They're experts in the cow field. Yeah. Anyway, apparently the impact of using VR on the milk production of cows will be shown by a further comprehensive study. So there will be more. This is just the beginning. Like, maybe you should be a part of this, Rowdy. Like, with your science background.
I don't believe a word of this.
You could be a pioneer. You could set a name for yourself.
This is the best science there is, Rowdy. Come on.
It is.
Doctor of cows.
Groundbreaking science.
And this video, is that also part of the research?
My
has no
science
idea.
senses are tingling. My science senses are tingling right now.
Yeah. It gets you excited. Is that what it is? Yeah. So, although, like, in all seriousness, like, so this is kind of funny, like cow wearing VR headsets. I think it's hilarious. But what is kind of interesting is if you think about like the long-term future, like we have an issue with like mass farming, and like we know that conditions with these animals in these like mass farming, whether it be chickens, cows, whatever, is kind of bad. So even if like this is kind of like a test right now, but if something like this could make animals happier in the future that are stuck in these conditions, then I'm kind of all down for it. But I think
the big problem with that is assuming that their level of happiness is based on the idea that what we have will be good for a cow. We don't know if a sunny, grassy field. It could be the food that they take and that makes them happy. Like, I don't know, Mike.
Cow experts, Rowdy. You can't argue with them, right?
Well, this means that Facebook and Sony can sell more headsets in the end. And we have maybe this is what VR is going to look like when it goes mainstream. Maybe this is the mass adoption. It's not us that need
cows.
VR.
It's cows and chickens. Yeah.
Wow. But we have Kevin Brook in the chat saying, rather than buy every cow a VR headset, wouldn't it be cheaper to just put them in a real field?
that's probably true. That's actually true. He makes a very good point.
God.
But this is a nice way for those companies to make money. Let's be honest.
But I think what they were saying, like in Russia, like this suburban Russia, they didn't have the space to have all these cows. But then you should argue, well, maybe they shouldn't have a farm in the first place. So yeah, it's a good point.
This is actually a terribly
so it is
depressing
real. So
topic if you think about the actual ramifications of this.
Yeah. But I think, like if something like this in the future, even though I don't think it's very practical or that it's commercially viable for any farm to do this, I would kind of support it in that sense, but I don't think realistically this will be a thing in the future.
No. Like, I think realistically it is a thing, and I think the problem is that this is so. The point is, right? Take a bunch of worker cows, right, and you're strapping headsets to them. Just change that one notch. Cow, human, right? Bunch of worker humans who are in a depressing situation who are going to have VR headsets on, so that let's pretend you're not in a terrible spot. Let's pretend you're not somewhere else. Next, they're just going to be doing this with jails. They're going to be like, let's reduce the size and scale of our jails and our prison system. And instead of having big jails that are nice and comfortable for the inmates, let's cut those into 9 pieces, like little thing, and then each one you can have a cage with the person just standing there with a VR headset on. Yeah.
Didn't they have that in like Ready Player One in the IOI booths? They were doing like work and they were kind of stuck in these little cells.
That's where we're going. Like this is.
Anyway. But just on a serious note though, like what are the specs?
I have no idea. They didn't share.
What do you
details.
think? What do you think they maybe like Pimax kind of like wide field of view? Because
that
I
would
think
make
cows
sense.
would.
Yeah, like they've got a big IPD like ETs.
Standalone? Is it standalone?
It looked like.
Can
it was
you also play Revive titles?
Yeah, Beat Saber gets a boost. It's funny because VR Dizzy did a little image that Beat Saber shared, and it was basically all these cow names that have logged all the high scores in Beat Saber after this goes live.
You know VR Dizzy when they made this article about me being stuck with my Pimax on my head and they had to save me.
Yes, I did read that. So I won't milk this anymore, and I'll just move on.
This is way too good.
We got a couple more topics. God, let's get through this, right?
You know that before we go on, you know that Mike was like, "Hey, Nate, the cow needs to be in the thumbnail. It's gonna be amazing."
It needed to be in the thumbnail. It did. Yeah.
Mike was totally. This was Mike's moment. So thank you.
You're welcome. Right. Next bit of news this week comes from Phil Spencer from Xbox.
God. Okay.
Whereby he made clear that VR isn't going to be a part of the upcoming new Xbox console, codenamed Project Scarlet. Now, in a recent interview with website Stevia, Phil stated, "I have some issues with VR. It's isolating, and I think of games as a communal kind of together experience. We're responding to what our customers are asking for, and nobody is asking for VR."
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like
So-
it's 10 times more social as it is with playing it on the 2D screen.
Wait. So what the people want, but they have almost no users.
Well, this is the thing. It causes stir, and rightly so, because I think what he is saying is kind of like misinformed a little bit. Well, a bit.
You're so English, Mike. You're so English saying that. It's so
to the
polite.
point. To the point, though, like even Shuhei Yoshida, president of Worldwide Studios at Sony Interactive, responded to this in a tweet, and this is brilliant. He said, "We often work hard to make things that no customers are asking for." It's a really good point, because
So you're just saying that Shuhei needs to teach him a lesson in a way.
what I'm saying is, like, the best innovators in tech in general are always making things that we don't know that we want.
Right, exactly.
And
It's a very smart statement.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you look at the iPhone, no one wanted a touchscreen mobile phone. Look how that revolutionized. Yeah.
Remember
the
Nokia?
mobile phone
They
industry.
did this entire interview about like the iPhone, and like they were laughing at it, like was ridiculously expensive, and nobody was going to pay that amount of money for an iPhone.
Exactly. Look at them now. Although Zim defecting.
times.
I guess the reason behind this, I think I understand why, is because the Xbox have been burnt in the past, right? They produced the Kinect sensor, right? And there was just going to be this huge thing that was going to revolutionize gaming. It's going to be a new way of interacting with video games, and it was a disaster in that sense. Like they tried to force it upon customers.
Financial disaster, yeah.
With bundling it with every console, no one really wanted it. So I guess they kind of are wary now, more wary now than they probably were before, because they lost a lot of money through that Kinect adventure. But I do think that, VR's moved far beyond the point where it could ever be considered as a gimmick anymore. And I feel that Xbox will probably be left out or left in the dust with Sony and Oculus pushing forward and driving the charge. I think if they don't start really sort of looking at it seriously, they're going to be left behind in the future.
It could kill them long term. Like
potentially.
If you miss a large enough segment of your market, even if you're a large player, you can die as a result of not keeping pace. Look at BlackBerry as an example, right? I mean,
that's a great point.
So
Microsoft.
This is a major threat to them, and I think they need to take it seriously, and they're not.
It's Zim is saying the gaming side could die of Microsoft, like Microsoft itself. I still want to have Windows.
Right.
Sorry,
Xbox, right? Like, I mean, I'm not talking
Xbox,
all Microsoft. VR is not big enough probably for that, but actually, sorry, let me take that back a step. Microsoft's primary product is what? Windows, right? Windows, an operating system.
I like Windows.
Who's making operating systems for VR? At some point, you're not going to need a personal computer anymore. Like, who's making operating systems for mobile phones at the moment, right? All the major mobile phone
Microsoft is doing
applications.
so much. The majority of their profits are coming from patents, I even believe, not from their operating system anymore.
Yeah, I'd be very interested in. I haven't looked at their balance sheet in a while, so I need to.
But this is kind of interesting, because this is really ironic, because in the very same week that this all hits the news and people are talking about that, the lead developer from the team at Microsoft producing the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2019 said there was a lot of people making that exact assumption that this better be supporting VR right from the get-go. We will try our darndest to make it happen.
But it's just communication, zero.
Yeah, so you got Phil on one hand saying no one's asking for VR, and then there's Dev from the Microsoft Flight Simulator team saying that everyone's asking for VR, and we're going to make it our priority. So it's just kind of like...
It feels like the frontman of the gaming scene, so he should or say VR, best thing ever or not. But hey, Phil, after March 2020, you can come at my house and you can try some VR.
The thing is, like, I wish Microsoft, because Microsoft generally, I would say, is a company that has done pioneering of engineering feats very well, but they do like something great, and then they do a couple of muck-ups, and they do another something great, and that's just generally what Microsoft has been for the last 30 years. And like Kinect I remember when Kinect came out, I played it at a friend's house, and then immediately, I was not a console gamer, by the way, at this stage. Immediately the day after, my wife and I we picked up Kinect, and we played Dance Central all day the next day. I mean, it is something that I loved. I loved Kinect. Mike was saying that it was like financially a pit, because what they did was they chose, which was a ballsy move to do, they chose to bundle it with their next system, and it didn't do well. In the end, they had to, after 4 or 5 months, they had to cut it out of the core package to reduce the price. And actually, even today, we still see that drawback or that lag against PS4 in terms of them versus the market. So even if they were toe-to-toe with Sony from a software positioning and their platform, Kinect was one of the reasons that held the platform back. So but people still use it though, because they use it for no green screen, VR sort of background elimination for mixed reality stuff.
But I feel like the Xbox.
I think what he actually meant was more in the lines of that, considering the user base they have, that there is, the market share that would be playing virtual reality would be almost not significant for them.
The user base is very small nowadays.
But how do you push forward with any sort of new technology then?
But if you lost so much money, are you even capable of doing that?
I think also because potentially their Microsoft Windows mixed reality headset line didn't particularly do that well, but they are pushing forward in AR, as we know, with the HoloLens too. So, and I think that is a decent product by the looks of things, and what people are saying about that, especially in the business sense.
Yeah, they're still in the game, which is good.
It's just a shame. It's just a shame because I think ultimately I think next year is going to be a big year for VR, and if Scarlet isn't compatible, or if there's no way of making it compatible in the future, then they're stuck in a hardware rut with this console that can't do what people are asking
Nintendo,
for.
Exactly. Of all consoles, they are jumping into VR.
Yeah, even cows. So there you go, Phil.
And cows,
yeah. But it is a shame because Microsoft have some amazing IPs. They've got Halo, Forza, Gears of War. Like, imagine a Gears of War game in VR. That'd be so epic. Having that chainsaw lancer and cutting up some locusts, that would be so badass. So Phil needs to get with the times. That's my final say on that.
Poor Phil. He's had a flogging.
I have spoken, as he says in The Mandalorian.
I've spoken.
Final bit of news this week is about the Valve Index. So obviously last week on the show we covered Half-Life Alyx. I can't believe Zim wasn't here to be part of that. We did miss you. We did miss you for that.
Sometimes you got to make a family decision. So
I understand. Yeah. Of course, it was huge news for VR. The whole VR industry is like super hyped about it, and it seems to have converted more than just a few naysayers as well. So I'm really happy about that. But since the Half-Life Alyx announcement, the Index headset, controllers, and headset and controller bundles have been featured in like the top seller lists on Steam, and they've also sold out in the US and Canada, which is really cool to hear. I think it's great. The full kit, including the base stations, is still available. However, if you order one now, it won't be arriving till Christmas or just after. So if you wanted an Index for the holidays, get in there very quickly.
And the base stations are also still, if you only want to buy base stations, then there you go.
Good. Okay.
Although it's like I don't want to kill the hype here, but Canada is now able to buy the Index for the first time ever. It wasn't even available there. So it not only Half-Life impacted the sales, but also the fact people were waiting for it.
It was the first time.
I do understand that Australia still can't buy them.
Yeah, true.
Which is a real shame.
Yeah.
I know that Josh had to import one from the States, I think.
It's a really interesting thing though with Canada in terms of being able to buy or not buy and import goods from the US. Like that, of all the disadvantages to living in Canada, that's probably one of them. Canada, for some reason, is not generally on the lists of we will ship to.
And it's like next
and
door.
this covers a lot of different pieces of hardware. Many VR headsets have launched and not been available there, or similar to like Portugal. They seem to be on a similar kind of pull.
Wow.
Yeah,
Brazil
whereas a lot of European
worse,
countries will get it before Canada would.
Wow. But you're lucky though. If you do live in the UK or Europe, the individual components and the bundles are still in stock. Although we don't know how long those stocks are going to last. But I think it's great. It shows a nice little boost in sales since the announcement. But I still think that most people are going to be holding off until the reviews and the gameplay videos drop before they start investing in a headset like the Index.
I think a lot of people, what happened the most is that people just bought a copy of Half-Life Alyx and they're like, we'll see what I'm going to do with that copy.
Yeah, I think, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens after the game launches, and if it is the phenomenal success that most people are tipping it out to be, and then it's going to completely change the landscape of VR once again. So it's going to be really exciting to see what happens in the future.
Yes.
But are you sort of more tempted now, Zim and Rowdy? Because I think you
For
don't
what,
own
Index?
Indexes. Yeah.
No.
No.
No. I mean, to be honest, it's going to be supported enough on other headsets that
it is. Yeah.
The problem is not the Index for me. The problem is the drag-in cost of upgrading the PC. And for someone who's considering an international move with 7 living things, it's not a smart idea for me to go drop money I can't afford. So at the moment, it's just, I love the headset. I really do like the Index, and I think the people who have the money for it, and I mean, the system plus the games you play, plus the headset, right? You got to have the whole set. If you have an underspec PC and you get an Index, you're stuck in an awful place.
For me, it's the opposite. I think my PC is enough spec for it, but it's just the quality difference and the price difference compared to the headset that I'm using now, the Oculus Rift S, is not for me worth investing. And also, I've seen how the integration worked in Vertigo 2. And I was actually very impressed with that. Save for like the exact finger tracking, I could still like track like these fingers together, this finger and this finger all separately.
Exactly.
So for me, that's at this point enough up until they maybe if the next generation with a bigger difference in quality or really revolutionary something, that would be a reason for me to invest. But at this point, I don't.
I do understand. I did have a bit of buyer's remorse because I was hoping that they were going to announce a big game with the headset. Had they announced Half-Life Alyx with the headset, I think it would have been a different story. But now I feel like I'm happy that I've invested in it, and I'm going to have this game to play in the future as well. But like you guys said, and it's a very good point. You don't have to have the Index to have a great experience with Half-Life Alyx when it comes out. You can play it on other headsets, and although you're missing out on that precise individual finger tracking, ultimately the experience isn't going to change. So
you're not going to get more immersed than someone else.
No, it's just it's a nice to have.
But if you're a
not
fanboy and you love Half-Life Alyx that you want to sell your firstborn, then I totally get it.
Yep.
Then you need to go to jail.
You probably do need
first. But you have 30 months to sit in jail, and then it comes out, so you still have some.
Yeah, and it takes 9 months to make a baby, so that doesn't work.
That's true, but if you already have one, then you can sell it, right?
Wow. Okay. So that is the
different levels of expectations.
Happy Christmas! Yeah, this is.
Merry Christmas, everyone!
I was all down for selling a kidney, but I don't know if I would go so far as to sell a child.
Sure. When everyone is playing it, are you then still sure you don't want to do it?
I would rather give an organ. Yeah.
Okay.
But that is the news. So let's pass it over to Zim then for the releases. Super excited about the releases this week.
Are you, Mike? All right, we'll cover some releases. So before we dip in, I'll make one comment, which is I didn't disappear off last week's show because I didn't want to talk about VR Alyx. I was home in Ireland. I don't know what you guys said. I haven't watched the last show yet, but I was very excited for Alex's news, and can't wait to see what Valve does about it. Most excited, I think, at the end when they popped the G-Man. I was like, yeah, baby! So that was good. Anyway, releases.
Nathan made a cameo.
Yeah, to be honest, yeah, it looks a lot like the G-Man. This is like they're slowly. We saw that. they're slowly showing us how Nathan ages over time. Then,
our podcast is demonetized now, Nathan. Thank you very much.
It was very small. It was very small.
Not kid friendly. Sorry.
Yeah. All right. So
first, my podcast.
This game is the first game of this week, and I've got 4 to mention. So. First game is one that some of us have played. It came out a long time ago. It was called Battle Dome, and Battledome has been re-released, which I found kind of surprising. So Battledome Redux, which is available for PC VR headsets, has been released for £7.20. It's only £4 if you own the original one, so the dev is giving a break for that. This is a Splatoon-like dynamic first-person shooter, which is a 5v5 combat like the original one. And for those audio listeners, you're in a very low-poly Tron-like world where you have a simple mechanic of guns and painting guns. And the painting guns are used to paint tiles on the floor, and those are the tiles that then you can teleport yourself over to, and then this kind of restricts your motion. So it's a push and pull back and forth until your team, well, one of the teams, takes over enough tiles to push down one side, and kind of that's it. Played this originally. This is one of the first really good like multiplayer VR games I remember, which launched on Steam. It was a big deal for about 2 months, and then it became a ghost town. So the re-release, I think, doesn't have enough probably in it to really excite me, but because it's an oldie and a goodie, I wanted to kind of support Bad Bird by mentioning their game, given this had come out. Bit of a surprise to me. Nathan, you played this one before?
No, but I do know it. But I just wonder why to re-release it. Is it because they just hope that they can maybe make another start with it again and hope that there's a player base this time?
Yeah, I think so. And to be honest, from everything I've seen of the game, it doesn't fix the core game design. I think they're just resetting, basically. It looks to me that they've repackaged the original game. They're pushing it again under a new name to see if they can hook again before moving on to something else. What I want from this game, in terms of its game design, and if any other devs are like, hey, we could clone that, please do. Remove the teleport function, because it was the first game that I felt really gave great paintball vibes before Rec Room came along with an actual paintball game. But had that great, like, again, that kind of Splatoon type, like, paint the arena mechanic, which was really good. The thing that wasn't good was when you teleported forward and someone teleported behind you. Like, they should keep it. If anyone's played in-person paintball in real life, having that kind of push and pull of, you know, physically walking that direction, or I suppose slide or glide, would work really well, I feel, in a VR title. But yeah, I'm afraid this isn't bringing what I hoped it would. But that's Battledome. Mike or Rowdy, you guys played the original?
I played it.
Yeah?
No.
Yeah.
You like it? What did you think of the original?
I think it's a very cool concept. It's very, like, high energy, frustrating, but fun. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, yeah, I think it's a great title, but I do like the suggestion you made of, like, the regular locomotion.
Yeah, I think that's an important aspect is the thing. So, okay, cool. On to the next title. So this one is one that nobody expected, and is inspired by a classic Oriental card game. Okay, so if you're a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon, the card game, not the comic, then this game is Ryori. And I like this is a free game, PC VR. So this is kind of early access thing where he's just the dev is just testing out some mechanics. This is by Get Out Games. It was launched on the 27th of November. So you battle to claim the title of King of Kings in this turn-based single and multiplayer strategy card game. So you get a starter deck, which is 40 cards, has 14 monsters in it, 10 spells, and a trap card. Don't ask me what a trap card is. Someone more into CCGs than me will know what that is. With plans then in a year's time to expand to 25 different unique monsters. There's some kind of like interactivity within the title in terms of the monsters that you spawn, and so they appear ahead of you and kind of full VR 3D, and that's pretty neat. I've seen a couple of titles try to tackle this, and I think there's still a kind of a desire for card games to be transmutated into something that's a bit more in person. I think that game is coming. I don't think this one's necessarily it, but it's nice to see another indie push and try to do that. The trouble is, as we've seen with other similar titles, the animation cost is enormous. So if you're a single indie dev and you're like, I'd love to do this, but then you go and you start dropping your ideas into code, and then you see the limitations before long when you're trying to see that come to life. And that's been the real problem that I've seen with these kinds of games.
For me, these are the kind of games that I would, like, one of the few ones that I would rather see in an augmented reality rather than a virtual reality.
Although saying that, like, a game like Hearthstone, if Blizzard did it with all their production value and you were throwing a card out and then saw it play out in front of you, I think that would be like an incredible experience. But I just think, like someone else mentioned in the chat, this looks a little bit basic. And even Steve XM in the chat said that Keyforge on Tabletop Simulator is fantastic. So a man after your own heart, Zim.
That's true. And there aren't that many yet CCGs that do well in VR, and that's probably one of the only ones. So anyway, that was Ri, which caught my eye because I used to have a friend. I'm going to tell you a little bit of an Irish thing now because I was back in Ireland. The Irish spelling of Rory is Ruaidhri. Rory.
Wow.
Yeah, difficult. I had a best friend in high school, equivalently, secondary school in Ireland with that name, and thought I'd give him a shout out. Rory, not an easy spelling. Most Irish names, if you ever see someone kind of appear to be choking, just check they're not trying to pronounce an Irish name. Yeah. All right. So, third one in the list, another quality title here. This is on PC VR headsets and Project Z. Actually, it's probably Project Z, but we'll go with Project Z. So Project Z is you wake up in an abandoned hospital, and much like the game, what was it called? Amnesia. The game Amnesia. You don't have any means of defending yourself, so you're just running away from zombies and stuff like that. So there's a bit of a puzzle element to this. You're in a zombie-infested hospital, and you got to find your way out. So again, although it's like an indie title and something that's pretty simple, it's only an hour's worth of gameplay, and this one's definitely not for rowdy. Again, I'm always turned on by zombie games, so it's not a zombie shooter or wave-based anything. Okay. It's more a puzzle game, more of a room escape type thing. And the funniest part about this is looking at the game dev studio Slindev. This game launched on the 28th of November, by the way. Looking at their past catalog. This then is the spiritual sequel to their previous title, Blobby Tennis, which was where you played tennis on a beach against the star of the 1958 film The Blob. Literally, you were playing tennis with the Blob. It was you versus an AI monster. So
I've just seen the trailer, but it looks
rough. Yeah.
I thought Blobby, the star from the UK,
Oh, is there another Blobby I don't know?
I think so.
Mr. Blobby.
I don't know
Mr.
who that
Blobby.
is.
Yeah, Mr. Blobby.
From Noel Edmonds' house party? You'd never seen that? Oh
no.
My God.
That's right.
Where have you been your whole childhood?
I would love to see an Outlast kind of vibe in a VR game. With a camera that you put batteries in, then you're like, oh, I can see.
You would, if they bring that out, then you would play it, Nathan?
I would play it.
I've actually played Outlast 2 in VR. Actually, I played the original Outlast in VR as well. With
getting chased by naked man.
With Vorpex.
It kind of looks like 28 Days Later, the game.
Yes.
Yeah, a little bit. But I like that concept of when you're helpless. It's not just me with guns and blasting zombies. Yeah. So that kind of idea really makes me interested. And it was PD earlier in chat today had mentioned that there was potentially code leaks again teasing Left 4 Dead VR. So I think it's a really cool thing to kind of again think about what could Valve do differently in a Left 4 Dead game. And I think one of those is start off completely unarmed before we
Zim, you're just casually talking about Left 4 Dead coming to VR, but you know that maybe next year or the year after you're gonna watch it announce and be like, okay, now it's real.
I hope. This is why I'm just gonna keep seeding it.
You don't have to hope.
Get it.
It's like it makes the most sense moving on from Half-Life.
I want it badly.
True.
All right. So you've had 3 beautiful, unpolished gems, and we got one to kind of round out the cake here. So this game, some of you may have played. I don't know if you were invited to the early beta. So if you're into MMORPGs, there is another one coming called Nostos, which is landing on the 6th of December. And again, if you look back in this dev's background, this is NetEase Games I'm talking about, they had previously designed a game called Stay Silent, which to the best of my ability looked like it was designed after Cowboys and Aliens, which was a Western-themed multiplayer game where you ran around shooting other cowboys and aliens. This, however, is an open world, Oriental animated film-inspired MMORPG with a physical, giant, seamless world to explore. It has free movement and allows VR players to explore its kind of vast bounds. It's the first game that I can say, having seen it, their website, all their media, looks pretty decent. Now, some VR tubers I know have had a chance to get access to an early alpha and or beta of the game, and it looks quite inspiring. It claims to have realistic combat to allow a more immersive experience, offering a variety of different terrains. But not only that, they bring in the science side, meteorological systems. It looks interesting. Have any of you guys actually played this? I'm curious.
No, but I've seen gameplay of it on, like, people are streaming it and stuff like that. But is it gonna go in early access? I think it must. Almost.
I don't know.
Because it looks like a very ambitious project that it needs to be worked on for, like, next year as well. It's not gonna be, when it launches, I don't think it's gonna be completely polished yet.
Yeah. I think those kind of out there that really enjoy Orbis are going to really dig this game, for sure.
It's multiplayer too, yeah.
So there's I think the only other titles that really are in the same space: Orbis, Township Tale, any other VR RPG games that you guys know of?
I'm sure the chat
knows. I forgot the name of it.
So East Fogel is saying that VR365 played it when it was in alpha and it sucked pretty bad.
Well, most of these tend to do so. Yes, It's been, after last week's incredible run of news, this week has certainly been somewhat fated in its. I
was really hoping for you to finally announce that Battle Royale game, but it seems like it's getting pushed another year.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Population 1?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they keep pushing. Actually, there's quite a few games, and I think it's quite.
Has anyone seen gameplay of this? I don't think so.
Population 1 at the moment, not recent.
Only a trailer with some minor gameplay.
Only minor gameplay. So
there is one game that you missed though. A good one.
Go on, tell me.
And that is The Climb on Oculus Quest.
Oh yeah, but we've talked about that before. Yeah, that's fine.
Oh,
Go on.
That doesn't count. It's coming out on the 3rd. So I believe that is Tuesday. Tuesday next week, The Climb is coming to the Oculus Quest. And from the trailer that they dropped, it actually looks pretty decent. Like, I was thinking it was going to be like just a grey blob that you're climbing up.
Blobby, giant blobby.
But it actually looks pretty great. So I'm excited about The Climb on Quest.
The gameplay is present. That's the most important. So
yeah.
Cool. There you
go. Cool. Well, now it's time to hand it over to Nathie.
Wait, so I got an entire topic
all you
for myself.
All about you.
Usually it's like 3 and we need to share, but now it's like only me.
Putting you in the spotlight.
Wow.
Nobody puts my Nathie in the corner.
I'm getting a little bit nervous, everyone.
So you're going to tell us about your experience of VR Days?
Yeah.
We already delayed this segment twice.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to finally hearing about your experience with, the Pimax and the Varjo?
Yeah, and also maybe a little bit of a treadmill adventure too, and this unicorn. I'm sure someone wants to hear some more detail.
We heard about the unicorn already.
Oh, okay.
If they missed it, they need to go back to the previous episode and watch it.
Yeah. Okay.
Little
so first of all, I went to VR Days. It's been 84 years ago, and this was in Europe, in Amsterdam, so next door, and it's like I think it's 2 days of you being able to check out all kinds of new hardware, software, etc. It's like the enterprise event of Europe where everyone can show stuff up. Although I gotta say, entertainment starts to pop up more too now. So we're talking about Manus gloves. We're talking about the new HP Reverb getting showed there last year, of course. The X-Stall, like a lot of experimental things, not things that you would say like, oh, this is going to be out yet. All the things that are expensive, and just pretty much everything. It's a mix of entertainment, of enterprise, of art. It's all there, and it grows and grows. This was the 5th edition. It started 5 years ago, where VR enthusiasts would simply meet up, play some VR games, and now it's a full-fledged event with an award show, with a day where you can hear all kinds of speakers talk about VR, with a dinner and all kinds of things. And you see a lot of people from the United States coming to this event, people from all over Europe, Asia. So it's becoming a big deal, and I think that's good because Europe, it does have a couple of events, but they're not of the scale that you have in America, right? So yeah, it's good to see that even in Europe, VR is thriving, VR is growing and growing. And yes, I got to try some stuff. I don't know where you want to start. You want to start with
Pimax.
Pimax? Okay, so as I said, it's been a while ago, and usually it's kind of hard to talk about things that you tried for like 10 minutes. And so let's just say it straight. I got a Pimax at home. I think I got the Pimax 5K Plus and also the 8K. When I used it, it was always the 5K. Never really used the 8K. I was more fond of the 5K. And compared to the 5K to the 8K X, that is like one of the newest ones in the lineup, it has definitely been improved in the sense where it's not that warped anymore.
Okay.
Although I did try one demo. I didn't try, like they let me try something they wanted me to try. So just saying, it was like this flight simulator. But it looked good. Also, screen door effect was barely noticeable. So they have made improvements. But I have no idea if after 6 months, it's still going to hold up.
Sure. Yeah, because I think that was one of the biggest criticisms
That's the important part.
We had about the Pimax, right, is that it had this like super wide field of view, which was one of the first to do it, like 170 degrees, something crazy. But you had to have these specially designed curved lenses in the headset to pull this off. And as a result of that, you kind of had this warped distortion on the edges of your vision, which kind of became a bit distracting.
That's true, yeah. But in this one, it was still warped, but not that warped in a way where you would get motion sick. You could get pretty motion sick of the current ones. But the build quality was improved. They used better plastic. It seemed to be more high quality. But again, I don't know what how durable it is, or let's say how good the display is in the long run when you use it for hours upon hours. That's the thing. Like having experienced the Pimaxes that I own here and seeing what other people have reported, I'm just a little bit more careful about my.
Sure. Yeah.
How's the form factor? Yeah, I was going to ask just a question about I remember from playing with the headset, it was kind of it was smaller than I was expecting it when I first got my hands on the 5K Plus.
A lot of people say
the foam was a bit because you see it looks like it's going to be like a hammerhead shark like out to here, right? But it's actually pretty tidy, and all my fears of like you playing Beat Saber and hitting the headset were abated from the first time I played with it. But like the foam, I was never really impressed with, like the facial interface part of the headset. Has any of that improved?
Yes, so the comfort has been improved big time. As you guys may know, it's shipped with this head strap that also came with the classic Vive. It was just too, like the headset is quite heavy, so it needs to have a strong head strap to keep it on your face and keep it comfortable. So they have a new one now where they have, I think they're using a similar design to, it's like a hybrid between the Vive Deluxe audio strap and the one that you use on the Oculus Rift S and the PlayStation VR. So it has a lot of, and that's important with this headset, that you have a big front part that keeps the balance going. But there was like foam everywhere, on the sides, on the forehead, on the back. They put it everywhere. I've never seen a headset having so much foam everywhere.
Did you like that or no?
Well, compared to just a head strap, yeah.
And in terms of like, do you think, what was their kind of focus for this headset? Is it business or consumers or enthusiasts or?
I think it's a mix. I think it's definitely for their community, for their dedicated fan base, but also for enterprise, because there are still a lot of enterprise that use this. So yeah, like there were a lot of people surrounding this booth, and most of them were or people that got curious, like what kind of headset is and what can I do with it, and others were like really dedicated to the Pimax brand. You like, as I said before, you can see that this company survives for a part because of their hardcore community.
Is there?
And they were there. So
from what you can tell, I mean, is there much of an interest in Pimax anymore?
Well, they make a new one, so you can decide for yourself if that means.
I think indeed, like Zim mentioned, I think that they're in a bit of a pickle now that we have like the index. Since like the index is like clearly targeting the same market as Pimax is, which is expensive, high consumer, prosumer kind of market. So that is a bad situation to be in if you're Pimax, I guess, because Valve is not a company that you want to take head on.
And especially considering that the Pimax aren't in a position right now to ship base stations or controllers, whereas obviously with the Index you're getting a complete bundle, everything you need.
Yeah. They were demoing it with the Valve Index controllers, funny enough.
Yeah.
You do need to know that, Pimax at this moment wouldn't be able to compete with Valve nor Facebook. But in Asia, they of course have the realm for their own.
And like you say, they have this dedicated community that
they have,
use it predominantly for like sim applications, like flight sims and racing sims.
I think it would be smart to indeed to keep on focusing on like bringing something new to the table. So they were one of the first headsets to bring like that wider field of view, but now there are other headsets that are also kind of going into that direction. So maybe it would be smart for them to find what is the next thing that we can add to our headset in order to stay that little step ahead to keep that community.
Smell-o-vision. They could add smell-o-vision. Just get another smelly module, you have the wider smelly module.
You could buy all kinds of upgrades at the Kickstarter. So, but for me, again, this is what I said last episode as well. I appreciate them innovating, trying new stuff, but the people that backed this project 2 years ago should be first getting their stuff, okay? And then you can, like for me it was as well, like I wanted to try it, but then the other side I would just tell them like, listen, I like that you're making new things, but first of all, give those poor people that spent so much money on this hardware, on this Kickstarter, their hardware that they paid for.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, because I'm in that boat as well.
Because now everyone is talking about, new headset, blah, blah, blah. But where the heck are the base stations? Haven't they already started making base stations? The controllers, like, I've seen molds. I've seen them. Like, I was at their office. I've seen them, but I don't know. But what they did do was kind of nice, because there was one guy that I knew from my trip in China. They said, like, hey, if you want to come over again, then be our guest. So that's nice. I never feel like they're really hiding something. They're still trying to figure it out. So I might go. I didn't make any promises. But yeah, the fact that they want to, let me come over again. But I am definitely very, let's say, critical.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. What about the Varjo then? Because it's kind of an interesting one. We've talked about this on the show before. Retina sort of level display.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's so it's not Varjo, it's Varjo. I've been asking them about it too. I was like, because I met someone Mr. Risotto and those people. It's like, how do we call this thing? No, it's Varjo. Varjo. Yeah.
Lucas is hilarious.
Yeah, I know. So I got to try it for 30 minutes. Everyone had to wait for me. It was very strange. Like, I didn't expect them to have me demo it for that long, but apparently they were interested to hear it from a different perspective. Usually it's the enterprise that gets to try this. You don't see the Varjo on a consumer event because it's very enterprise focused. It's very expensive. Wasn't it starting at like 6,000?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and then you also need the software, etc. I'm not gonna go too deep into what extra you.
Did you have anyone like slapping your head like some large German lady with like a leather whip who's like whacking your hands anytime you touch the display? She's like, no, touch display.
No. I was able to. I was like, can I take things off? Can I push things? They were like, yeah, sure, dude. Like I grabbed the headset. First of all, quite heavy. Okay, quite heavy. But that's because there's a lot in there. But so solid, like it was like almost like a.
It looks heavy.
It does, and also the head strap was very massive. All the materials were, quite
chunky,
quite strong, quite chunky. But when I put it on, wasn't bad at all. It wasn't that heavy, because it's balanced in a nice way. If you balance a headset out in a good way, then it's fine. But of course, this is again a headset that is mainly, well, not even mainly, it's just getting used in the enterprise business. So they show it to someone, or they letting companies use it for at least like maybe, I don't know, 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. But it's not like you're gonna play with this for 4 hours.
Was this pinning down your ears while you were using it? It looks like if I tried to put a headphone over it on your head, it looks like it's actually looks kind of uncomfortable there.
Well, I'm gonna surprise you guys. It has inbuilt audio.
Oh, like bar audio, like the Go has?
Yeah. Yes. So and that makes sense once again, because it needs to be easy to.
One of the unique things about this headset is that it actually has 4 panels in it, right? So it's got a panel for like 2 panels for each eye. One is like a larger contextual panel, so to deal with all the stuff that you'll see in your peripheral vision, and then the one that is like right in front of your eyeballs is a little tiny 1080p panel for like this ultra clear, crisp image.
Yeah.
Well, so I could definitely see that there were smaller ones that were sharper. I could see the difference between those.
Did you see the line as well, like in between the two? Because that would be.
No, you can just see the change in quality.
So similar, you mean to the Quest with its display, when you like turn your eyeball 45 degrees or whatever, and you look to the side, you can see the quality shift?
But then the field of view is in that sense is then stronger, because the displays that are sharper are way, let's say, more in your face. Than with the Quest, it's very like on the sides of your eye vision, but here it's kind of in your face, but not in a way where you could really see it.
So this headset, it has hand tracking? Finger tracking?
It has hand tracking, it has inbuilt. This was the first time I got to use the new Leap Motion technology. So the company is now called Leap. What was it again?
Ultra Leap.
Ultra Leap. So this is the first time I got to use like Ultra Leap. Very good. And the range is really big. It's inside. So you see the glass display? Yeah. It's behind that. So it's like completely hidden away. You don't see it.
How do you see your hands? What do they look like? Do they look like see-through hands, or?
So I got to try a couple of demos. The first one was a hand tracking demo. I was in this. It was like a photorealistic factory or some kind of like. It was like an artist. His layer where he made all these little action figures, and you could just use your hands to press buttons to go to the next scene. You couldn't really grab anything. It was you just pushing buttons on your hands to go and teleport around. Yeah. But my hands were like golden. They weren't realistic in any way. They were just completely golden. And I just tried all kinds of stuff. Of course, occlusion and things, just like everything else we have seen. That hasn't been solved yet. It's just like Leap Motion.
So, right? so tell us about this, like the visual quality. Was it like next level?
Well, I mean, next.
Do you
want
to play Half-Life Alyx on this headset?
It would be nice. I'm not gonna lie. It would be nice.
It's
very sharp. It's extremely sharp, but I'm very happy with the current stuff too. You know.
Yeah, but that's a problem that we highlighted a little while ago. We're getting towards like, you have like that curve that is like increasing, and at a certain point that will start like plateauing, and like the marginal increases that you're getting for like 10,000 more pixels, it's not going to be that much different anymore. If you go from 240p to like 1080p, that's like massive difference, just because you're so much lower on the left end of the curve.
Yeah.
The more you go to the right end of the curve, even though the difference will be the same amount of pixels, it will be barely noticeable. You can go from 20K to like 50K, and you.
But now you'll be able to see the individual hairs on the head crab in Half-Life Alyx.
Yeah. So it would be nice to. It works with Steam VR. It's getting tracked by 4 base stations, by the way, not with 2, with 4.
Interesting.
And I also checked out the cables that need to, run with this headset. I can tell you the break box was quite big, and there were all kinds of different cables going all over the place. I still need to double check what that meant, but they were like two cables going into a laptop, and you had like this big power block that was on the ground that was like powering the whole thing. So it's the most overpowered headset I've ever tried from a gamer perspective, at least.
Yeah, I remember when I was doing research about this, and I think they used 2 display ports. So there's a display port per eye, basically.
God.
Yeah. So I played this demo where I was in this, this museum. I don't know really what it was, but it was something Scandinavian. Then I got to go into a supermarket, and they turned on the eye tracking. I had to, first of all, adjust my eyes by looking at these points, these dots going all over the place to measure everything. And then I got to just look at products. And it was just like this circle was in the middle where I was looking. It went there. Super strange, of course, because you're like, and it just goes all over the place.
They could tell that Nathan's eyes was like darting up to the top shelf.
Yeah, but it was impressive. It worked really well. And then they, like David tried it, and they showed me the software they use. I could look into the headset. They had like these cameras, of course, so I could see his eyeballs going all over the place. I wish I had some video of that too.
It's a research tool that is actually like very useful and very
data was rolling in. Yeah,
they do that a lot actually, especially in data science. They did that with MRI scans as well, because people need to do awake scanning and that kind of stuff. So it's always neat to get like that kind of information to see that actually being used on like a level like that.
Yeah.
There's a good question here from chat, actually, from Anne. Says, if you could have it for free, Nathan, would it become your daily driver?
No, because it's not made to game with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I mainly do on my channel.
Yeah, but if it could game, is it something that you would game?
But it can game, but it's just the comfort. It's not
the comfort side, because
it's not built to be a gaming headset.
Yeah.
I think though, like with this like dual display technology like laid on top of each other, like eventually that's going to trickle down to consumers and become more affordable. So eventually we will have this like retina level display.
There are the design choices for enterprise and not for gamers. So I would not. It sounds maybe weird, but I don't care about that in gaming.
And I guess even now, like gamers are complaining about the specs required to power a VR headset, as we've seen with the Half-Life Alyx announcement.
Yeah.
So this is like on another level.
But I think also, it's obvious they need the 4 tracking stations because it doesn't have anything in the back. Like the back strap is just like a fat version of the deluxe audio strap, from what I can see.
Yeah, it's very solid. Very. This was the VR2 Pro, by the way. This was not the first Varjo. This was the newest one. There's also an AR one. It's like mixed reality, so you look through cameras. Very interesting. I tried that. Then I got into I think it was a control tower at an airfield, and I could look at all the little planes, and it would give me information on where they were going. And I could also, you could control buttons too, but in that demo it didn't work, but you could actually press buttons with your eyes.
Wow.
I don't know how that works. Maybe it's like this, I don't know. I don't know, but you could look at the planes, you could look at the hangars and all the gates, and it just worked. Like the eye tracking was very, very accurate.
Is that the first time you tried eye tracking?
Yeah, I never got the opportunity before to try it.
Nice.
Varjo it's a very impressive headset. It is.
Cool. Was there anything else at the VR Days event that was like that particularly stood out to you? Like whether you said those gloves.
You guys didn't want to talk about the unicorns.
Yeah, no unicorn. No unicorn.
No, Manus was there, and you can just see Manus is on top of their game. They had the Manus gloves there. They had this. I tried Manus gloves before, but they had this demo of you could put like a plane engine together. And they had like the Valve Index together. They had like this slick booth making VR awesome, making VR cool. They're like in the VR industry for years now. Like they're not new to the business, but they were there and they make great stuff. They have new gloves. They have completely motion capture. They did the Lindsey Sterling experience not that long ago. So they're doing well, and they were at VR Days, of course, supporting.
What do the Manus gloves do?
The Manus gloves.
Yeah.
Well, what gloves should do? You grab, like, for example, a part of an engine of an airplane, and you put it together. It's like very simulation based, very training based, but you can just use your fingers to grab stuff. It's kind of like Leap, but then of course way more accurate.
Oh, okay.
But there's no
push buttons. No, you can
there's-
feel it too. You can feel it too.
Yeah,
but what? So it's got restriction there, like the is it vibration feedback or is it like actual restriction
vibration.
feedback? Oh, okay, cool.
No, it's not. No, not that.
That's not the
No,
it's not the
some,
finger breaker, Mike.
That's what. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
I
I
tried
know.
them like a couple of years ago, but even then there was very impressive. Also the motion tracking, like the mocap suits and stuff.
So you also tried out a treadmill?
Yeah, I tried. That was also my first time.
Just
I
a
always
normal
kinda
treadmill?
held off with
First time on a
treadmills.
normal treadmill. Never been on one of those before.
No, I have
running
no
in
idea how
space?
this works.
Yeah.
No, I don't know what is workout. I have no idea.
Okay.
No, I tried the Cyberith, and it was their second generation, and I had to, well, first of all, step into these funny shoes, these socks, that let you move on the platform, and I was trying this demo where I had to escape an office, and I also had to put out some fires with a fire extinguisher. And it was very, again, training based. And first it was very awkward. I had no idea how to really use it properly. Because what is the speed? How do you, like, you're almost like moving forward and you're like, I'm going to fall or something. But I noticed that, like, treadmills have a lot of potential if they are calibrated, right? If you move the same speed as the character, then it's great. But that's the problem with treadmills that I've heard about, is that if sometimes you run too fast, but then the character is slower, then it makes you super sick because it doesn't match. And that's what I had. I had some moments where I was like, wow, okay, I'm at the right pace, I'm moving in the right motion. But then there were other moments where I went too fast or too slow, and then it was almost like my character was walking in front of me and was faster than I was, and that kind of brings this disconnection to your brain,
Also,
and that makes you motion sick.
the science of walking is so complex when it comes to it, like, because we do it all subconsciously. You put your one foot forward and you automatically balance, and your brain like immediately triggers the other foot to come off. Like there's so much that comes into like just walking, that it's very hard to do this in a zero latency environment, because as soon as you introduce latency into there, then you will get a really strange feeling.
Yeah.
It's weird because, like, I've tried the Omni, which is similar. Did it have like a dish at base? Like, so it's like, so similar to the Omni in that sense.
Yeah, it's very similar.
But what I found with the Omni, I didn't notice any latency, and I was running on it and everything. But what I found myself was I was just like leaning on the rail as support for my legs to run fast enough.
Yeah, because you slide to the back and then you start running. Yeah, but that's same here. So it doesn't feel natural in that sense. No. It feels artificial in a way as well. I still think the best thing I have seen was last year at Oculus Connect, where they had this
the Infinideck.
Yes. That's like Ready Player One. It's like an escalator that goes always.
Exactly. Yeah, that's an omnidirectional, like, moving platform, basically. Yeah.
This one seems to have a like an automatic inflation in the underneath the platform. Were you saying that you went into one that was more like a bowl, rather than what I'm seeing is the Virtualizer Elite 2 has a kind of a platform that's got some kind of almost like a blow up module beneath it to change the angle? Was it like that?
I did. Yeah.
So flat surface you were walking on, or bowl?
No, what you said, like it actually moved with my, but honestly I didn't really.
So the incline was changing dynamically with your content then?
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, that is so hard to do, I think, because it needs to predict where you're going before you're actually there. And if you then all of a sudden decide to turn around, then like how is it going to fix that?
And I think like treadmills, like we're so far away from a good treadmill.
Yeah, it's like it's not like I would say that it's not going to ever work. It's just that I'm not that interested in, using it as it is right now.
I believe in the future that we'll have a device that just plugs straight into our brain that would probably simulate the fact that we're walking better than a treadmill could ever do. That's my like that's why I thought like the cyber shoes was kind of interesting. Like, remember the cyber shoes?
Oh, the cyber shoes, yeah.
Because it was so cheap, but kind of felt like a treadmill.
Yeah.
Again, didn't feel natural.
You had to sit down. That's the big, like, for me, that's not walking.
Or
some people said like you could like harness yourself from the ceiling and then use it, but I was like, no, that's not going to work. But yeah, so I think, you know, physical devices for locomotion in VR has got a long way to go.
I just don't think, like, I like some people said, oh, treadmills are a gimmick. I don't believe that. It's just very, very early.
Yeah.
But I do see it work. It's just right now I'm like, yeah, no, this is just, I would rather just walk with a thumbstick.
Yeah, like put it this way: if a company said you can have a free treadmill, I still wouldn't use it. Put it that way.
Oh, not for a daily driver.
Well,
No.
I think to be honest, one of
that's
the main things that put me off a treadmill is just the physical space where you would have to then stow it away. It's bad enough having a driving wheel for a racing game. Having something that large, even if it compacts down, it's still going to be a large object. How do you resolve that? And then Rowdy's point comes in, which is it doesn't even feel right.
Yeah, but the problem is just like I think there are solutions for it, and I always think it's impressive that people are working on this. Also, this kind of like I like the thing that they do with like the blow up thing. It's a very neat kind of concept, and it's stuff that we need like this that will indeed push it up to like the point that this will become something usable. I wouldn't look too much at like the design or the size of it, because those are things that get like, you know, patched out in later versions or prototyping or whatever. But I do think that as long as we don't have like a near zero latency solution for this, that it's almost impossible to do that. But of course, you know, like computing is always on the rise, so I don't think it's that far away in decades now, that it's going to be something that is at least to a point that it is usable.
Seems like Musk's solution is going to be the closest one here that fixes it. It's going to be a neural link that basically tells your brain, hey, I'm walking. Oh, wait, I'm not. You know?
In Musk we trust. So, Nathi, out of all the stuff you tried, what would you say was your highlight from VR Days?
I didn't try that much.
Unicorn.
The unicorn. Okay, it's the unicorn. Okay, so if you've got any questions for Nathi in the chat about Varjo or Pimax or unicorns, then put them in the chat. Also, remember, it is his birthday, so feel free to wish him a happy birthday, because it's very important.
It was this week, by the way. It's not today.
Yeah, this
It's
week.
representing
You make it
Jesus.
sound like I'm. Oh, sorry, I broke the whole.
Let's not forget, though. You know, it happened.
Okay, yeah.
We celebrate you an entire week.
So my entire week.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
It's your birthday week.
Your birthday week.
So let me remind you. So you've got some time to put some questions in the chat. So this is a weekly VR, AR, and MR talk show, live streamed every Saturday on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitch. By the way, this is all made possible by using Restream.io. So if you want to do like a multicast session yourself, Restream.io is the program to use. Obviously, you can watch this in VR as well using big screen TV, chat with like up to 8 people in a little room, and they instance the rooms. It's a really cool way to watch the show. You can watch the show live at 7 p.m. in Europe, 6 p.m. in the UK, at 12 midday in Central US. And also the audio version is particularly good as well. It's available on iTunes, SoundCloud, and on Spotify.
Nice.
Quick shout while we're scanning chat for questions. I did actually hop into big screen last week, but I was totally confused when I hopped in, because I hopped in and I saw like 3 people like turn to me. And I was like, oh shit, they're gonna see my name and they start asking me questions. I was like, trying to be covert, and so if you spotted me, it was me. Yes, like because I hadn't had a chance to, when the show was live, actually hop in. So I hopped in, and it's a nice room actually.
That's hilarious.
Big old
As
couch.
the show starts, they'll be like, "Aren't you supposed to be on this?"
Yeah,
show?
exactly. I was like, this is gonna be like, I can't explain this. They're like, hang on, you're not dead, right? But yeah, I hopped in. That was good. The thing I didn't know, and I wanted to just rebroadcast for other people who also might be confused by the same thing, is I didn't know that the podcast is instanced. So you have, I think, 8 people max in a room, and then there's multiple of those rooms. So you might be going to see your buddy or whatever. So I think there's a friend system. Like, you know it better than I do. But if you want to join a room with somebody, I think you can just join on a friend. And that's how that works. So if you were just gonna like casually drop and you're like, oh, I don't see my friend, and then you pop off again, well, don't do what I did and assume that it was just those kind of 7 or 8 people looking at you.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Yeah, you can invite your friend along. Yeah, very cool.
So,
very cool.
So I went to like my local media store today to see if Black Friday had any impact on the, let's say, VR sales in my very small city, in my town. And I can tell you there were I think there were 6 PlayStation VR bundles there, but then 3 disappeared later on that day. What I did notice was that there were no moves with that. So the only game that you need moves with in the bundle that they are selling right now is Skyrim.
You don't need it.
Yeah, you could play with a gamepad, but I was like,
Same with Blood and Truth. You could play it with a gamepad as well, right?
And yeah, you can.
So at least it's not a crime they're doing. Selling move games without a move in the box would be a little bit dodgy. But like you looking out at Black Friday deals and Cyber Monday deals. The one thing that I noticed, which I think is still active for UK people, was I think 150, 160 quid for the whole steering wheel, shifter, pedals, like all of that bundled together for that price is great. But then they've also got a Assetto Corsa Ultimate Edition, which is all of the DLC and stuff, for £12 on Steam. And so if those two are going together, that means for basically £180, you can get a full-on racing setup with the best game and loads of content with it. That's a great deal. So if you've been like saying, hey, maybe I'll go race, then do that. Yeah. And join
Zim's Discord server as well. And
sure.
You set up your own servers, don't you, for Assetto?
Yeah, for Assetto Corsa, you can just check out zimtalk5.com/AC. The AC is for Assetto Corsa, and it just gives you everything you need to join us. We're actually just racing tomorrow. We're doing it the first week of every week, first Sunday of every month is when we're racing, and those are such a blast.
It's like being in your own episode of Top Gear.
Really is. Where's your wheel, Mike? You've got a wheel, but it's tucked away, is it?
Yeah, it's tucked away.
Yeah.
Well,
gathering dust.
So one last thing that I thought was interesting this week is that someone made their own fiber cable for Oculus Link.
Yes.
And it works.
Yes. Yeah, so they had USB to fiber connection from their PC. Then I think it was like a 70-meter fiber cable or something like that.
Shit.
But they said that it could go up to 250 meters. Yeah. And then on the other end, a converter that then converts it back to fiber to USB again. And then you use a link cable from that to that. So yeah, very impressive, but of course very expensive. Like we're talking like multiple,
that's
400 quid for a cable.
Don't do it.
So yeah, there's been a lot of talk about different cables that are compatible really at the moment. And I think, to be honest, just hold off for the official one. It's going to be released in the next 4 weeks. That's the one that's going to be the best one.
It seems so hit and miss right now. Like I've seen so many people be like, oh, I bought that one. It didn't work with my setup. And that one, I think even if you take recommendations from various videos, what I've heard is people try it with their own configuration and find it's not working. I agree with Mike. Stick with the official if you're going for that.
Exactly, and that's exactly what my experience has been. I recommended a couple of cables, and although they work for me, they don't work for other people. And then things that I said didn't work for me did work for other people. So like you say, it's very hit and miss. Yeah, the official cable is going to be the most compatible one.
Just a small correction here. The Ultimate Assetto Corsa bundle's only £9. I got the pricing wrong. So that's good. It's available till Monday.
So did anyone buy something at Black Friday? Or
I bought a doorbell.
Okay.
One of those smart ones. So
we both got phones.
Android boys.
Yeah, I picked up the OnePlus 7T Pro, which is a fantastic device. But I was like, I'm getting more and more into AR stuff, and so I'm like, okay.
I bought a lot actually. I bought all of my Christmas presents for like my girlfriend's family and my own family. So I'm all set for Christmas. I'm all done, and I got the Galaxy Note 10 Plus for myself.
Yeah.
Wow. So, Mike, the doorbell's from Nest?
I got the Ring one. The Ring.
I got that one too.
And I got it came with a free Amazon show. So then when someone rings the doorbell, you can see them on a little screen on your desk. So.
Oh, I was like, what? You mean it just plays an episode of Game of Thrones or something off Amazon Video? Yeah. What do you mean an Amazon show?
The problem was, like, because I'm here on my own sometimes and I'm in VR, I don't hear the doorbell and there's always parcels being delivered and I miss them. And then I have to go to the post office, which is literally the worst thing that happens in my life. So yeah.
It's always better than having kids banging at your door because they know there's a YouTuber living there and they think they get a lot of candy when they trick or treat there.
Is the Ring the Ring coupled with the show? God, what is the world we live in? Is the Ring coupled with the show in any way latent, or is it relatively immediate?
I have no idea because I've got the show, but the Ring hasn't turned up yet.
Nobody comes to Mike's door.
That's true. Yeah.
Lives in this big Addams family house. No one wants to enter through the gate.
Exactly. Don't come here. Go to Nathan's house. He's got all the sweets.
He's like this salty YouTuber that just wants to make videos all day.
Salty. Yeah, for sure. Right. So that is the end of the show.
Leave a like, by the way. Sorry.
Long enough.
I almost forgot.
Leave a like on the video. We'll be back next week with no doubt some more awesome news for you. Maybe another animal with a VR headset on. Who knows?
Got good releases coming next week.
Yeah. Until then, have a great week in VR. Take care. And bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
Bye.